was giving you shit about something, and I missed it.
No.
Can you please tell me? Please tell us.
This comedian is a fucking hard nut to crack. Okay,
welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
Broadcasts material from Clubhouse, and he's got his own followers on
YouTube. He's like Heart AI. Is that what you are? Because that's super cool.
No, but I really like him. I think he's a fucking solid guy. But explaining to him that he's a solid guy is like really hard. For him to accept.
You accept compliments well.
He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't know.
Don't let me analyze him on that.
Yeah.
You hear the chickens? Okay.
Anyhow, okay. I wanted to do like a fucking meme of his show, because that he just rebroadcasts and he does that. So I wanted to fucking cock block it, because I'm not a fool, and neither are you. But I love him.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Low IQ Dumb People talking about nothing on a Saturday evening.
There we go. And then maybe he's got like a fucking 1,000 people watching. It's okay. Or like 10. It's good. Steph, thank you so much for coming into the room that I set up for us. It probably won't take off, but I really did enjoy having conversations with you.
I mean, with that attitude, it probably won't, but I'm in a chicken coop, like, basically, like, using aerosol glue to hang this fucking wallpaper, so anything could fucking happen here, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Have a spirit of adventure.
Oh my God, this stuff is strong smelling. This is going to give me a headache or get me high. I don't know. No, chickens! Can't go out the door. Sorry, I can't repeat myself.
I can't believe you only had chickens for 2 months. It's amazing.
I know, it's like, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that, like, they're still
eggs
alive.
You get eggs?
Well, no, they're not even, like, fully 2 months old. I think it's going to take, like, until they're, like, 4 months old.
What?
They just moved them outside.
Do you have coyotes?
I mean, I live in Michigan, and I actually live, like, really, I have everything over here. I have, like, wild turkeys and weird shit going on, but right now, I can tell you that everything I'm learning is off YouTube. And so far, they're still alive, right?
It's springtime in Michigan, right? Like, it's fucking...
I mean, you could call it spring, but it's, it's getting there. Like, yesterday it was 70, but last week it snowed today, and today it's, like, in the 50s. So we're almost considered spring. I mean, I did put a lot of my stuff, already transplanted it in my garden because I have indoor greenhouse.
Are you middle-aged?
This shit works, man. And I got it all over me. I got to mute myself because I have glue on my hands now. So.
Are you middle-aged like I am?
I'm 41 years old, and I plan to live to be 120. And I don't plan on dying because I'll be buried as a tree, so therefore my life will continue on.
No wonder why.
Or I'm going to be an android, which would be okay too. So.
Yeah. Do you find it difficult to interface with like 20-year-olds and like 30-year-olds and stuff? I do.
No. Let me hold on. I'm going to probably out of the chicken coop while I tell you. So also, like I said, I'm an evolutionary psychologist, but I'm also a behavioral psychologist too, and I'm working on another graduate degree. But anyway, before that, I was in the Marine Corps 15 years, so I have a lot of experience working with children and people who need crayons. And anyway, now surprisingly, in this chapter of my life, suddenly one of my jobs is I'm a part-time where I teach art therapy classes to elementary school students, and which has been great because I used to not believe I could ever actually connect with children. I had an issue emotionally connecting with my own children for a long time because, conditions in the Marine Corps. Oh my God, do you really want to know that one? Because that's a whole nother fucking room, Sasha. So I have 2 adopted children. One of them is 27. She has 4 babies. I have another adopted son. I got Caitlin when she was 16. Her mother had passed away. She's my best friend in the Marine Corps. That's the one that has the 4 babies now. And she's 27. And then I got Jesse, when he was 11 and I was in my early 20s, he was actually my stepson in my first marriage, and I adopted him, but he died when he was 18. And then I had Tyler Christian, but he died when he was 3 months old in the NICU. And then I had Tyler Ronan. He was also premature, but he has turned 17 2 days ago, and he's awesome. And then I have my daughter, Annalie. She's 11 and does a very strange relationship with me and her because, that's a complicated story. And then I have 2 stepchildren now. That is 13 turning 14 and a 10-year-old. No, I'm not. I'll get there. And then I did have 2 other stepdaughters in my second marriage I was close to. And technically, because my adopted daughter, Caitlin, she has 4 babies, I mean, legally, I would be a grandmother, but we don't say that because I'm CC and there's no fucking way a 41-year-old would have 4 baby grandchildren. What? That's crazy, right? And I didn't give birth to Caitlin. I got her when she was 16. So that's weird. But as far as nurturing, no, that has not been a thing for me for many years. There's a whole story behind that. Well, probably there's not a whole story. Just honestly, the universe kept giving me children in a situation where I never wanted to be a mother, and I didn't think I was very good at it. I was very good at being a Marine. I was very good at being a ruthless fucking cunt with no heart. And unfortunately, I had 5 combat tours, and being a Marine just doesn't seem to be very supportive to having a marriage or being a mother just doesn't compute very well, if that makes sense. So I failed at those couple things for a while. And for a long time, even when custody changed after my second divorce, things, I wasn't very nurturing in a way that a mother would. I was present, but I wasn't present. Does that make sense? I was there. I got to do this, I got to do that. I wasn't really there. Yeah. But things changed. And after my second graduate school, and then I started gardening, and which is another whole story. No one would even recognize me gardening.
I started doing it.
I mean, it's the weirdest shit. You couldn't pay me to cut grass.
It's
I was 36 years old, and I was like, dude, I never cut grass on my own. I mean, I'm being serious. I never cut grass, and I was like, why do I need to learn to cut grass? It wasn't essential to my survival all this time. I either lived in a home that somebody cut the fucking grass for me, I paid somebody, or my husband did it. So why do I need to learn how to cut grass? But then I was in a situation where I didn't like how the people cut my grass, and the guy that is now my third husband, I moved into his house before we got married. And so mine, he had these ugly ferns, and I just couldn't stand the ferns, and I ripped them out. Next thing I know, 5-6 years later, here I am, and I mean, I'm really good at gardening. So that's where we're at. Anyway, long story short.
How many years did it take you?
Well, the gardening thing, I mean, how it pretty instantaneously did I fall in love with it, but I also was
5-6 years.
I mean, to be good at it, I wouldn't say. I mean, it probably took me about 2 years to really watch a lot of YouTube, and but about being a parent, is that I wasn't always nurturing. I kind of convinced myself. They're intertwined. That's why I bring it up. They're intertwined. So when custody changed after my second divorce,
I agree.
I struggled to this point in my life where okay, I'm not in the Marine Corps anymore. That kind of mentality no longer serves. Now I have these degrees in psychology. I'm more aware, but my children weren't around me. I only had them part times of the year, summers, holidays type thing, and I had a void for a while.
Yeah,
and so garden came in my life. I'm almost done. And I'll tell you, and I'll let you out. What I'm saying is you asked me, you said I was nurturing. That's my life changed. I never thought I was nurturing. Then suddenly I found it within gardening. And then something happened with me and my son where I found myself being actually present and nurturing. And something I never expected inside me where I felt like a mother and felt present that I had convinced myself that I wasn't capable of, because I was like, why did the universe keep giving me fucking kids? I suck at it. I keep failing at it. The next thing I know, I started realizing maybe I could be. And then suddenly now I love being around kids and I love being nurturing. And I can't say I'm good at it. Some people like to tell me I'm good at it. I mean, people pay me to actually be good at teaching them how to be a better parent now, which is fucking weird. But long story short, who I am today, I would say I'm nurturing. But to say that I always was, no. That's where I end my story. And now I got to glue up my hands. Okay, now tell me what you were going to interrupt me and tell me, because I don't mind.
Okay, this is what I was gonna say. I'm a silent observer a lot of the times, and I take time to assess people and to see if they're full of shit. And I've asked you a series of questions in the last couple hours, and you always have the right answer. So it's really
suspicious. That would be suspicious, huh?
No, I know you're a real person. I know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's face.
Yeah. That actually. That's a real compliment. That's a real compliment. I suck at compliments, comedian, so I feel you. So that's a real compliment. I actually really thank you for saying that.
Let me finish it, okay? I get excited like you do. You know, I want to talk. But I'm very discerning as a person. Like I can fucking smell a fart in the wind, like very readily. And all of the battery of questions that I've given you, they're very subversive. You probably didn't even know them. You probably didn't even know that you were being tested. But you were being tested by me, and you have not. You passed.
Wait.
You passed.
Okay.
It's very strange. You know, I'm just giving you a big compliment right now. That's all.
I really appreciate it, and I hate that my phone cut out for 10 seconds of it, because I was like, oh man, I passed the test. I didn't even know I was taking it, because like I have really bad test anxiety. So if you would have told me, I probably would have failed. But that really is a really great compliment. I was actually speaking to a friend of mine how I suck at taking compliments, and I'm working on that. But she laid it out for me that when you're being authentic and you're being real, part of receiving compliments is kind of like, are they complimenting you one of your masks that you're showing that you want them to know about you? Are they complimenting that? Because that's hard to take for most people. But if you're being real and authentic, it's a lot easier to take a compliment, because
I don't remember your needs or not. What?
Nobody on this app that say shit about me for me to even care. You're obviously triggered because you.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Low IQ Dumb People talking about nothing, wasting all their time on a beautiful Saturday evening. I give you the dumbest people in Clown House.
It says on the internet that Shira is the brightest star in the night sky.
The Quran mentions that Shira, she's the brightest stars.
Serious.
According to some interpreters of the Quran, that refers to Sirius and astronomy. So I guess you could make the case, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being honest.
I mean, but that's nothing, bro. Like literally.
But you don't have to tell me you don't believe it. I don't care.
It's not about
you don't have to believe it, bro. It's on you. Dude, I don't care. I gave it to you. You rejected it. You have to answer for that. It's not on me.
Let's make a case though. Like literally, I was looking at another thing that you said which is, I mean, I think it
But
was.
I wanted to make the other point about like the thing you said about like 8.3. That's like equivalent to me asking how many times is cow mentioned in the Quran. Cow is mentioned in the Quran 9 times. Well, in McDonald's, a Big Mac costs $9. How could Muhammad possibly have known that?
Or it's $90.
God,
You have to multiply by 10. $90.
That's like the kind of like argument they giving.
But by the same logic, if Big Mac cost $9 and Aisha was 9 years old, how could the Prophet have known that?
Yeah, I don't know who Aisha is. Aisha's not found in the Quran. If you could find her name.
There was a Zen student who quoted an old Buddhist poem to his teacher, which says, "The voices of torrents are from one great tongue. The lines of the hills are the pure body of Buddha." "Isn't that right?" he said to the teacher. "It is," said the teacher, "but it's a pity to say so. It would be, of course, much better if this occasion were celebrated with no talk at all, and if I addressed you in the manner of the ancient teachers of Zen. I should hit the microphone with my fan and leave. Because Zen is a way of life, a state of being that is not possible to embrace in any concept whatsoever. So that any concepts, any ideas, any words that I shall put across to you this evening will have as their object showing you the limitations of words and of thinking. Now then, if one must try to say something about what Zen is, and I want to do this by way of introduction, I must make it emphatic that Zen, in its essence, is not a doctrine. There's nothing you're supposed to believe in. And it's not a philosophy in our sense, that is to say, a set of ideas, an intellectual net in which one tries to catch the fish of reality. Actually, the fish of reality is more like water. It always slips through the net, and in water, you know, when you get into it, there's nothing to hang on to. All this universe is like water. It is fluid, it is transient, it is changing. And when you're thrown into the water after being accustomed to living on the dry land, you're not used to the idea of swimming. You try to stand on the water, you try to catch hold of it, and as a result you drown. The only way to survive in the water, and this refers particularly to the waters of modern philosophical confusion, where God is dead, metaphysical propositions are meaningless, and there's really nothing to hang on to, because we're all just falling apart. And the only thing to do under those circumstances is to learn how to swim. And to swim, you relax. You let go, you give yourself to the water, and you have to know how to breathe in the right way. And then you find that the water holds you up. Indeed, in a certain way, you become the water. And so in the same way, one might say, if one attempted to, again I say misleadingly, to put Zen into any sort of concept, it simply comes down to this. That in this universe there is one great energy, and we have no name for it. People have tried various names for it, like God, like Brahman, like Tao. But in the West, the word God has got so many funny associations attached to it that most of us are bored with it. When people say God the Father Almighty, most people feel funny inside. And so we like to hear new words. We like to hear about Tao, about Brahman, about Shinyo, and Tathata, and such strange names from the Far East because they don't carry the same associations of mawkish sanctimony and funny meanings from the past. And actually, some of these words that the Buddhists use for the basic energy of the world really don't mean anything at all. The word tathata, which is translated from the Sanskrit into suchness or thusness or something like that, really means something more like da-da-da, based on the word tat, which in Sanskrit means that. In Sanskrit it is said, tat tvam asi, that thou art, or in modern American, you're it. But da, that's the first sound a baby makes when it comes into the world. Because the baby looks around and says, da, that. And fathers flatter themselves and think it's saying da, which means dad. But according to Buddhist philosophy, all this universe is one da. That means 10,000 functions or 10,000 things, one suchness. And we're all one suchness. And that means suchness comes and goes like everything else because this whole world is an on and off system. As the Chinese say, it's the yang and the yin. And therefore it consists of now you see it, now you don't, here you are, here you aren't. Because that's the very nature of energy, to be like waves, and waves have crests and troughs. Only, we, being under a certain kind of sleepiness or illusion, imagine that the trough is going to overcome the wave, or the crest. The yin, the dark principle, is going to overcome the yang, or the light principle. And that off is finally going to triumph over on. And we, shall I say, bug ourselves by indulging in that illusion. Gee, supposing darkness did win out, wouldn't that be terrible? And so we're constantly trembling and thinking that it may, because after all, isn't it odd that anything exists? It's most peculiar. It requires effort, it requires energy, and it would be so much easier for there to have been nothing at all. And therefore we think, well, since the is side of things is so much effort, you always give up after a while and you sink back into death. But death is just the other face of energy. And it's the rest, the not being anything around, that produces something around, just in the same way that you can't have solid without space, or space without solid. When you wake up to this, and realize that the more it changes, the more it's the same thing, as the French say, that you are really a playing of this one energy, and there is nothing else but that it is you, but that for you to be always you would be an insufferable bore. And therefore, it is arranged that you stop being you after a while, and then come back as someone else altogether. And so when you find that out, you become full energy and delight. As Blake said, energy is eternal delight. And you suddenly see through the whole sham of things. You realize you're that. We won't put a name on it. You're that. And you can't be anything else. So you are relieved of fundamental terror. That doesn't mean that you're always going to be a great hero, that you won't jump when you hear it bang, that you won't worry occasionally, that you won't lose your temper. It means, though, that fundamentally, deep down within you, you will be able to be human. So it is then that, if I may put it metaphorically, Zhuangzi said, the perfect man employs his mind as a mirror. It grasps nothing, it refuses nothing. It receives but does not keep. In other words, this is to be put very strictly into our modern idiom. This is to live without hang-ups. That is to say, to be able to drift like a cloud and flow like water. Seeing that all life is a magnificent illusion, a playing of energy, and there is absolutely nothing fundamentally to be afraid of.
What if your smile could go from looking like this to this?
Luvia's 24-hour process is really unique.
It's a game changer in terms of having your teeth the next day.
You're getting the final product. You know that you're getting the smile that you've imagined.
It's an incredible life-changing event for the patients that go through it. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to see the change.
If you talk all the time, you'll never hear what anybody else has to say. Therefore, all you'll have to talk about is your own conversation. The same is true for people who think all the time. The constant chit-chat of symbols and images and talk and words inside your skull.